This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
All right, James, pitch me alarm clocks that insult you awake.
Let's see. Alarm clocks that insult you to wake. Okay. You've been late to work. You're running late all over. You're sleeping too much. Coffee isn't ready. What do you do normally to wake you up? Let me ask you that.
I lay on my bed and debate my life in my head.
Right. So now imagine an alarm clock that does that for you to get you out of bed that you're so sick of that you need to get up. Like it just insults you to the point where you're like, what am I doing with my life? That's my kind of alarm clock. And that will get you out of bed. I promise you, even to shut it up, that'll work.
Everybody needs some verbal abuse in the mornings.
Exactly. Gets you started all fired up. Forget that coffee. You don't need it. You're filled with rage.
Yeah, I love it. I'm sold. I'm getting. I actually think that would be a great alarm clock. I don't know if people do that, but I've always felt like getting insulted in the morning probably will wake you up more than
Absolutely. And the good thing about this alarm clock, it depends where you go. It changes the insults. So if you go Walmart, that's one type of insult that you probably don't want to hear. You go to Target, it's a more escalated insult. So it really depends your flavor too. We got all different varieties.
Amazing. Yeah, no, guys, you heard it. That's James Hughes with his pitch of an alarm clock that insults you awake. Everybody, welcome to Fully Managed. You guys know the drill. This is where we discuss marketing and business tips, and we assist you guys in your business journeys. I'm your host, Daniela, and I'm Penji's partnership coordinator. And you've gotten a little bit acclimated with James. He's from Mass Media Marketing, and he's our guest for today. James, I'm so excited to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And now you can see why I don't sell alarm clocks full time.
I actually think you did a pretty good job considering that's kind of a hard pitch. It's the type of thing that either does really well or does really bad with an audience.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I definitely on the low end of that spectrum for sure. So apologies, everybody.
No worries. It was great. And now, James, welcome to the podcast. To kind of get the ball rolling, we obviously broke the ice a little bit already, but I want to hear about you, about your job at Mass Media Marketing. Tell us everything that we got to know about yourself to get us started. Everything that is going to be important. Favorite color.
Loaded question. Yeah. No, it's been crazy. So I started my media career in 2004 back in New York, where I'm originally from. I was 19 at the time and going to school. It was about a 2.5 hour commute each way. By the time I was 20, I was full time at an agency in New York, grinding it out, making nothing. I now can tell everybody where every dollar hot dog stand in New York City is for sure, because that got me through college while I was going to school and working full time. So I was going to school at night back in Connecticut, working in New York, touched a number of different types of verticals, number of clients. The agency got bought out by WPP, rolled into Group M, where had a much more robust experience with an even wider array of verticals and clients and different formats. Moved over to Publicis in 2011. And then finally made the jump to client side directly with Caesars Entertainment when they brought business in-house. So with that, I moved to Las Vegas in 2014, worked with them for a few years in building their team since they wanted to create an agency in-house. I was kind of a catalyst with that since I was the only one out of a team of 10 that had agency experience. So I really kind of set the model with them, helped them build that up. Decided to move over to MGM Resorts International in 2017. They were doing something very similar. Where they had 4 agencies that would touch their regional business, so everything outside of Las Vegas. I came in as a center of excellence, built a team up there as well. So again, another in-house agency. I know a lot of agency folks, if you're hearing this, I apologize. I turned to the dark side for a while, but I did find the light, and I eventually moved over to mass media where I'm at right now. VP of advertising for them. I do all strategy, work with the buyers, work with our client services team, work with clients direct. We are a full service agency. So we have PR in-house, creative, client services I mentioned, and then the paid media arm, which I oversee. So been a hell of a journey. Yeah, for those doing the math at home, I just turned 40. So I've been in this game since February 24. So 21 years over in the industry. And yeah, just looking forward to every day kicking ass and taking names. So
you've been in the industry for a long time.
Long time. I was joking with my coordinator who is 23. So she was 2 when I started. And she's like, oh my God, did you have computers back then? So slight insult, slight burn, but I was, realistic that answer. I'm like, yeah, when I was working out of home, they would still mail us media kits, like actual pieces of paper. And yeah, then now I feel really old. So yeah, good times.
Wow. That's actually what I wanted. My first question was regarding how much everything has changed. Because when I sort of joined the workforce, I joined it kind of post-COVID. Everything was really different. And I've spoken to a lot of people who felt like a lot of things have changed over the years just due to globalization and, internet and stuff, but they also mentioned how COVID really changed everything. And I'm imagining that it was kind of the same thing for you. Whereas I feel like I haven't experienced a lot of those changes. I've kind of just joined in like a status quo.
Yeah. It's been, display, from when I first started to where it is completely night and day. It's the dominant force right now. The fact that, print has not gone away, but the decline of it has been tremendous to see. I've worked on clients. I don't want to name drop anybody, but I worked with a big telecommunications company, and their print budget at the time was about 125 million a year alone, and now it's gone to, I can imagine, a tenth of that. And when I was handling it, was already cut in half. So print, for example, nothing really dies; it changes, it morphs, it evolves. Print being that, I think CTV, online video streaming platforms, that's been a huge game changer, continues to be. Looking at Nielsen numbers, people viewing broadcast and cable combined is, I believe, pacing behind streaming services right now. So it's been a crazy transition from 2004 to where it is now. And now with AI coming in involved and the capabilities with that, it's the next wild west, I like to say. And you never know what's going to come around the corner too. And that to me, that's the great thing about advertising is there's always something new, always something changing, always something on the horizon. And, it's a great space to be in. It's a lot of fun.
So what I am also curious about is obviously I think in the last, I wouldn't even say few years, I would just say like the last maybe 10 to 15 years, we've seen a rise of digital marketing specifically in advertising. Kind of it's become a very popular medium for a lot of businesses. I think social media presence is really big. A lot of people are talking about things like SEO. And like you said, like stuff like print and I guess a little bit more traditional forms of marketing like TV commercials and banners, billboards, things like that have kind of taken a backseat. Do you think that this kind of marketing strategy is still being pursued by some businesses? It's still being lucrative for some businesses, or you think it's just kind of slowly phasing out until it's just completely gone?
Yeah, I think the market itself is overcorrecting where, it's a shiny new toy in the space, whether that is certain new technologies with display, social media, of course, the presence of that. I think it's kind of pushed more dollars towards those media formats compared to your traditional formats. But I think that's where it's kind of overcorrecting a little bit, where there's still now there still is a consumer that is seeing billboards, reacting to billboards, same thing with TV, same thing with print, where I think those advertisers are leveraging those formats, are finding probably a little bit more success because they're diversifying their media mix a little bit more, which I think is important. The way I like to look at it as media mix is like kind of like if you think of a spider, how it has 8 legs, each leg is a media format and they all help the body move, being the brand. And you need to have each one of those legs moving. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning in circles. You're not going to move forward, or you're not going to move forward as fast as you should be or could be. So I think it's the brands that are embracing still those considered old formats. They're the ones probably having the most success. Those are still the most recognizable. I always look at the big big brands of like McDonald's and Apple, right? They still utilize those formats, and they're not doing it just to, spend money and, for shits and gigs. It's, they're getting results from it. And I think a lot of brands, again, are overcorrecting towards digital because it is easier, because it is trackable. And I think that's the main thing is the trackability with it. They want results. They want immediate results. But the brands that invest in those old school legacy type formats, they're in it for a little bit longer play. And that's where, again, you see more success. So I think it's what you want to achieve and how quickly you want to achieve it. But it's those brands, again, that have the ability to not rush, but take their time, that have more success. And that's where traditional, I think, still comes into play.
Do you think that it has to do with budgeting reasons? I feel like I've noticed a trend where I think smaller to medium-sized businesses tend to put a lot of their budgeting efforts, at least marketing budget efforts, more into digital, whereas bigger brands try to do more traditional forms of marketing. I don't know if that's just my take, or I want to hear kind of what you have to feel, because I feel like bigger brands kind of probably have bigger budgets, and so they can kind of do different things. And I have the theory that maybe smaller to medium-sized brands think that they're going to see more success from just investing in digital than using like other forms of marketing.
Yeah, I think that's where it kind of really comes down to what they're trying to achieve. Smaller budgets, I mean, of course, digital. The thing with digital, search, social, it's giving you data results that you can act upon. Targeting, of course, is a lot more specific. You can really hone in on your customer, probably almost to a detriment, I would say, where everyone thinks their phone's listening to them. They are. Really those type of things. And yeah, a lot of brands are investing in those platforms because they have trackable results. They can tie back a ROAS, they can tie back a cost per lead, whatever it is, that they can then act upon. And as they should, but I think that's where finding the right media mix to help your brand from all parts of the funnel, marketing funnel, are the ones that are success, instead of saying all of it should go to search. Because at mass media, we do have clients that have smaller budgets, and the first thing they want to do is drop it all into search, right? Because that's your last touch point. That's your conversion part of your funnel. And that's great and all, but a lot of brands forget to realize when they do that you need to feed that funnel. You need to get people seeing your brand, hearing your brand, and interacting with your brand before they search, right? So when they do search, then you pop top of the queue, which is great, as you should, but you got to keep feeding that funnel. You got to get people realizing who your brand is, even if it's by name only. And I think a lot of brands kind of overlook that to a degree, or put so much stock in display. I mean, I remember a stat from a study that was run, I think, in the University of Nebraska or something like that. An individual per day sees over 5,000 different ads. 5,000, which is crazy.
So
but if you think of it, you're like, oh yeah, like I'm on my phone scrolling, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on, CNN.com, for example, and just the inundation that you get with ads is crazy. So realizing that you see that many ads a day, for some brands to go, I just want to do digital, you're just adding to that. You're just getting lost in the mix. You're just paying for impressions that someone sees, like subconsciously, even they're used to seeing so many ads that to them, it's like, well, it's not an actionable item for me. It doesn't matter how targeting it is. There, of course, will be those individuals that take the time and look at it and click and learn more. But I mean, that's why click-through percentages are benchmark is 0.1 to 0.15, depending your vertical. That's 0.1% of your budget that people are like actually engaged to click on. If you think about it, that's crazy. But for some reason, that gets more weight nowadays because it is trackable versus more of your linear TV, for example. So that's where it's depending on the company. I always ask people to go back, redefine their business goals. What is true to you? What is at your core business? To then come up with a media mix. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to do? What emphasis are you trying to push? Because I think all those questions are important that a lot of people don't ask nearly as much anymore. They just go, digital, that makes sense. Digital, great. Social, I want engagements. Let's go. And, a lot of brands go, let's do it. And then they don't know what really those formats entail or what they're trying to achieve.
I think, yeah, I do think that the oversaturation of ads is kind of not playing well for digital marketing specifically.
Yeah.
I think SEO is great, but at the same time, it's also really annoying from the point of view of a consumer, because you just want legit, if you think of it as a consumer, you just want a recommendation. You just want this one thing. You don't want to get marketed to. You don't want to get sold at for every little thing that you're researching, right?
Right.
And I think that kind of consumer exhaustion is not doing well for brands, like you said.
No, that's where I think authenticity definitely comes into play too. I mean, COVID shined a light on that, of people interacting with brands more that are speaking the truth about themselves, who they are, what they represent, than brands that are like, hey, 50% off, come on in. No one needs that shit. We get it. It's on sale. Cool. I'm not gonna
We don't care. Yeah.
I don't want your mattress. Get away from me. Fuck off. It's really those brands that tell that story, those authentic brands that are really reacting right now. And those are the brands that are doing well on those different platforms when it comes to social and display, for sure.
I think a big difference is also just how consumers have become a lot more aware of marketing. And I think integrated marketing into just content that you're consuming is a lot more common than it used to be. I think product placement in movies and TV shows has always been a thing, but probably we didn't notice it as much before. But I think influencer marketing has sort of put that sort of in the forefront, because now you could be watching just a random video that you think is funny, but it's actually an ad for something. And it's like this one person that you thought was just a cool person that you wanted to watch a video of, and it's an ad for a soda or for a product or something, right? And I think that adds on to that sort of apathy and lack of authenticity, like you mentioned.
Yeah, anyone can be bought. Anyone can have their, their brand heard, as I like to say. Influencers just, I think BuzzFeed really kind of kicked that off in a way. It's like, answer these questions, find out what Harry Potter house you would belong to, or something like that. And then, oh yeah, you're now this brand. Congrats. And it's like, oh, okay. And then they just escalated it through social media more so. And yeah, that's where the evolution of those type of formats are always evolving. But yeah, influencer for right now is heavy top of mind for a lot of brands, because they just feel that that's the new way into getting to people's curiosity. And as it is, it has its place, but yeah, it's losing that authenticity, which then loses that impact and raises more questions in the consumer's eyes.
Do you think that consumers in general have changed? I feel like there's been a change in consumers, just how they consume content and then how they thus react to marketing, because I feel like we're dealing with people that are a lot more kind of tech savvy and aware of marketing. I feel like before, if you would have to talk to someone who was in the field of marketing for them to understand what an affiliate code or an affiliate link was, for them to understand what SEO meant, what a lot of these things are. I feel like nowadays regular consumers demand brands to be transparent of that. They're demanding celebrities and a lot of people to kind of just talk about ads and stuff. I feel like before, people could get away with a lot more kind of different marketing strategies that were maybe a little bit sleazy, but also just, just being sneakier. I feel like that's also just really changing marketing, not just digitally, but just in general, because there's a demand from consumers for transparency a lot more than before.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And that's where I'm glad when I started in the industry, because I started when I would say the tail end of the Mad Men era kind of was sunsetting. And that was that same age bracket. They were really running the economy, the boomers, right? So they were the disposable income. They were in that age bracket where ads for them could be more, how do I say it? Like, they're being more understood on display, because it was a new format, even for them, where they weren't necessarily tech savvy or computer savvy. Smartphones weren't a thing. And now with my generation, I now have that disposable income. I'm now that target demographic for a number of products that are higher end, because I have more of that income than I did when I first started. But the difference is, I'm used to my phone. I'm used to smartphones. I'm used to all the different tech that's coming out and what comes along with that. And that's where I think that's where that transition happens, right? The formats are going to be the same to a degree. The advertising message is going to be the same to a degree. But the individual consuming that message, they're always changing. They're always evolving. They're getting older. Their life situations are changing. And that's the biggest difference, I think, to your point, is we understand technology a lot more than our predecessors did, and what comes along with that and how to react to that. And ultimately, what we're looking for and how we're going to react positively to certain messages and how they're put out there. So I think to your point, the authenticity for sure is massive. I mean, look at that. Look at McDonald's. Like growing up as a kid, I never thought like, what's a calorie? I have no clue. But now like my 5-year-old looks on the back of her Happy Meal going, oh, daddy, this is how many calories this meal has. I'm like, what the hell happened? But that's, again, that transparency. Bad analogy, but ultimately that's that transparency that you're speaking about. And it just is going to get more and more prevalent as the younger demos get older and older, and they have now more disposable income. They're going to ask for that, and brands have to respond accordingly.
I also think we've seen a rise of controversies affecting brands a lot more. I don't know. I feel like I was too young before and I didn't notice, but I do feel like we've seen a change in just brands getting more kind of canceled online. I'm sorry, I'm kind of sick, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I've seen
Need some soup?
Thank you. Yes, if you can ship me some soup, that'd be great.
Uber Eats on the way. You got it.
Thank you. But yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like I see brands kind of getting canceled a lot lately. Every kind of brand, not just big or small. But I know, like, I saw when on social media this Palestine and Israel issue was kind of getting really controversial in like October to May of this year. It's still very prevalent, but I feel like those were the months where I saw people talking the most about it. And everyone was talking about canceling certain brands that were, supporting like the group that they like, that I guess social media was kind of trying to, the narrative that social media was supporting at that moment kind of being like a thing. The demand for brands and for celebrities and just people in general to kind of position themselves. I saw that like politically with the elections, it was also kind of the same thing. And it makes me wonder how that affects marketing, because I feel like regardless of what the political opinion or stance on a certain social issue might be, I don't think that they really influenced how we interacted with brands before. I feel like now it does.
Yeah. When it comes to brands asking, should we get involved or should we have a thought on this? My theory is always the conservative end of no, you don't have a thought. You don't have because it's not a win-win situation. And I'll be honest, I don't know enough about the conflicts that are going around in the world to say one way or another, even how I lean. And I certainly don't want a brand or even a celebrity to influence my impact in that, because you're a brand, you're a celebrity. You know about as much of it as I do, right?
Yeah.
Or like your opinion shouldn't really come into that framework. So I always say brands don't do that. You're just positioning yourself into a no-win situation. Like you're gonna upset somebody. It's not a matter of if, it's when, and there's no gain from you doing that. And it's a similar situation. I mean, unfortunately, with the terrible Los Angeles fires earlier this year, we had a brand going, hey, should we market to these individuals to say, hey, we can hook you up with, discounted whatever. And I'm like, they're going through a major situation in their life, a major tragedy in their life. Our recommendation is just to support them through donations, but don't advertise it. Don't advertise those individuals necessarily, because they don't want to hear it. They have bigger priorities in their life than what you're trying to sell them. And we did see brands though do that. And it's just like, come on, guys, you're trying to capitalize on a person's unfortunate situation. You look awful. You really do. And,
you do.
Our client did back down from doing that. And I think that was the right decision. So that's where, again, I implore any brands to not try to sit on one side of the fence or another and make it public. Everyone has their own opinions. And unfortunately, brands, even if people are clamoring for you to make one, just don't. It's not going to benefit you.
I think I've always kind of had that thought of like brands staying kind of neutral. I feel like with the demand of consumers for brands to position themselves, I feel like it's kind of like a between a rock and a hard place type of thing, because what do you do? Like I feel like consumers nowadays will get mad if you don't say anything, but they will also get mad if you say the wrong thing. So it's
I would say for everyone that says make a decision, there's 3 people that are saying don't make a decision. And it's always those people that say don't make a decision that are the quiet ones on social media, especially, right? It's like Yelp. Like you always go to Yelp reviews. It's the people that have amazing things to say or horrible things to say. And you're not going to, it's the ones that truly come in daily to those restaurants, for example, that won't leave reviews, that are your core customer, that you not doing anything. That's who you want to keep versus the minority audience that says, say something.
Yeah, the loud ones.
Exactly. You're appeasing 30% to piss off another 70%. It doesn't make sense to me. And that's why I just implore brands to, I understand there's a lot of pressure as a brand, but the best thing to do is just kind of sit on the sidelines. Don't draw your position, see what happens, go from there.
So looking ahead, with the changes that you mentioned AI a little bit earlier. How do you think that that's actually going to come and continue? It's already influenced marketing, but obviously within the coming years, it's going to get bigger. How do you think that's going to actually play out or develop itself as it continues to grow?
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity, AI. I think right now you're seeing, search decrease a bit through paid search decay, where individuals are now going to Chat GPT, for example, to search certain things like, hey, what's the best car I can buy right now for this budget? And then it does your search for you with a recommendation. You're seeing a lot more individuals do that type of stuff. I'm certainly guilty of it. So that's where I think your SEO then comes into play in a big, big way, because that's ultimately what an AI source is pulling from, is available content it finds online. That's where the stronger your SEO presence is, the more complete your SEO presence is, the better you'll have those interactions with those different platforms. So I would say that, right, that's the immediate thing right now, because I think there is search decay right now where I believe 10 to 15% of individuals are shifting towards those different AI platforms to search for certain things. That number is only going to increase. Watch out, Google. Just saying. Google's Google, I know. But I'm curious to see where AI is going to be in the future even. I think capabilities the world isn't getting bigger, the world's just getting faster. And I think AI just pushes that into hyperdrive, but we'll see where it goes. I always like to look at movies in a way to see where they project the future. They're pretty good at that. So I always go back to that Tom Cruise movie, AI, where are you there?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so sorry. Yeah, I always go back to the Tom Cruise movie AI, where like they have the readers of individuals' eyes, and then you see like a billboard speak to that individual directly because they scan that individual's eyes and they know who they are. That could easily happen. I don't think we're that far away from it. Of course, privacy comes into play, but it's going to be a crazy world. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes, but AI certainly is going to be at the forefront.
I think generative AI is going to be very big, especially with marketing. It's already kind of being very big, but I feel like it hasn't been perfected enough.
No. Yeah, it's still in infancy for sure, which is scary in a way.
Yeah, it's scary because it's doing so well already. And I definitely feel like it's going to be really big once it gets better.
That's why, top tip, I always, when I search something in Chat GPT, I always say thank you after it gives me an answer. So I want to stay on the good side of the machine, so when they take over, I'm not at the top of that list.
They might not want to kill you.
No, it's I'll be on the list, I'm sure, but not at the top. So that's why I always say thank you, Chat GPT.
Yes, we love you, Chat GPT.
Yes, you're the best. Go cheat. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great way to end this podcast on, James. It's been so great to have you, but I do want to give you the space right now to promote anything that you want to promote. This is your time to plug anything. If what we spoke about today resonated with our audience, this is your time to shine. Tell them where they can find you, how they can work with you, connect with you, whatever it is.
Yeah, no, thank you. This has been great. I appreciate talking with you. It's been fun. It's just, if you guys whoever's listening, if you're looking for any kind of support and any verticals, recommend Mass Media. We're based in Las Vegas. So also, if you ever need a reason to get out to Las Vegas, here we are, happy to meet, happy to have a beer. We do have a full bar downstairs. Just bought a brand new building, so we'd love to have you stop by. But no, anything we can help you with, massmediacc.com. Appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today, James. And I will be adding the links to Mass Media on the description of this so that people can find you easily. Appreciate it. Guys, you know the drill. Subscribe, follow us, listen to us, interact with our videos, and have a great day, everyone.
Links down below.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.